So we have 9 ecumenical councils. We're going to talk about mainly the first 7 in terms of the canons, because what's really important is the 6th and 7th, which receive and ratify and codify all the canons, which we're going to be looking at tonight with regard to the reception of the heterodox. And it says there in Trullo, regarding the canons of St. Cyprian, the canons of St. Basil, and all the Holy Fathers, the ones that we're going to be looking at, it says, these canons are to be retained and left firm and secure for the care of souls and the cure of diseases. The council stated that we ratify all of these canons of the councils and fathers that came before, and they list them by name. So that's, first and foremost, that gives us the total seal of authority, infallibility from the councils. This is the church's understanding for the disease, the cure of diseases and care of the souls, the salvation of the world. That's why these canons exist. And then in Canon 2 of the 7th Ecumenical Council, it is again declared regarding these same canons that we welcome and embrace the divine canons, and we collaborate their decrees entire and unmovable. For all those men, having been guided by the light dawning out of the same spirit, prescribed rules that are to our best interest. All right, so the 2 ecumenical councils embrace these canons. So if the ecumenical councils acknowledge canons as inspired by the Holy Spirit and unmovable, and these canons have included instructions on baptism and the reception of the heterodox, so therefore we must move first and foremost and look at these canons and the historic church's historic teaching on these topics in the ecumenical councils and canons. So we have the apostolic canons, first and foremost. Now, these have been challenged by certain academic theologians. Again, why are the Orthodox in the West paying so much attention to academic theologians? I don't understand the fixation. Many of them have not passed through purification. They're not illumined. They're not understood to be ascetics, illumined by God, which is the identity of the Christian, right? To be an ascetic. Their authority comes from their PhD thesis, which is whatever, or their position at some academic institution, which is not an Orthodox, usually academic institution. The criteria is strange, but whatever. But it's important because these canons have been embraced by ecumenical councils, and yet they're doubted today and almost dismissed by the naysayers of the patristic consensus, the people who are trying to overturn the patristic consensus and lead us down the realm of, Latin ecclesiology, humanist ecclesiology. Like I said earlier, they want us to believe that the mysteries, the sacraments of the heterodox have grace. And of course, that's an ecclesiological statement. But if they accept the canons of the councils and accept the apostolic canons as expressing the apostolic faith, they can't do that. It's impossible. Listen to what Canon 46 says of the apostles. We order any bishop or priest that has accepted any heretic's baptism or sacrifice to be deposed. So that genuinely wonderful priest, I'm sure, who told me they have mysteries, we accept them. According to Canon 46, he should be deposed. So you have to reject the canon, or you have to say, Father, stop teaching nonsense because you're going to be deposed. No. Reject the canon. That's what is usually the case. All right. So canon, they're not really apostolic canons. They're not authoritative, whatever. Unbelievable. But that's what we're doing today. Apostolic Canon 47 says that those baptized by heretics must be received by baptism, and that the baptisms of heretics pollute rather than purify. Right? That's the summary of that canon. What does it actually say? If a bishop or priest baptize anyone anew that has had a true baptism, or fail to baptize anyone that has been polluted by the impious, obviously that means the heterodox. That means those who have rejected the faith of the church, the various heretics. Let him be deposed. Again, deposition for the priest who fails to baptize the one baptized, so-called baptized by the impious, the heretics. And he's deposed on the grounds that he is mocking the cross and death of our Lord and for failing to distinguish priests from pseudo-priests. This is the canons of the Ecumenical Council. Let's start there. Let's agree that these are authoritative. If we can't do that, then I don't see how are we Orthodox? On what basis are we even talking at this point? We've got to understand these are embraced by the church in 2 ecumenical councils. Apostolic Canon 50. If any bishop or priest does not perform 3 immersions in baptism, let him be deposed. All right, here we go again. We have said, and the church has said to the saints, and the contemporary saints have said, and St. Nicodemus and St. Paisios and St. Hilarion have all said, look, the criteria includes the form. Right there in Canon 50, it says, if you don't do 3 immersions, let him be deposed. Now we have people writing us and say, the didache, the didache, the didache. The didache doesn't say, it doesn't matter. The didache says, akrivia, first step, always this. Do this, baptize, triple immersion. If you can't, if there's a necessity, and this is the 3rd one down, right? The 3rd statement down. Then there's economy, and you can do XYZ in some emergency or some necessity. So that doesn't overturn Canon 50. Why do people think that this would overturn Canon 50? This is economia. This is exactly what St. Basil says in his canons. How the churches from the beginning said we have these 2 ways of managing the household of faith, economy and ecclesia. St. Nicodemus just restates what's been passed down to us for 2,000 years. We see it in the thief on the cross. I mean, so again, Canon 50 is clear. We do not understand baptism but by triple immersion, except in these grave necessity. What we've done, though, we've followed Aquinas today. We've followed the Latins. We've embraced the idea it doesn't matter. Pour, sprinkle, immerse, it's all the same. That's not patristic teaching. That's not the ecumenical councils. That's not the apostolic canons which have been embraced by the church. It's really not that hard. It's not hard to understand, and yet we continually double down because we've followed this path for quite some time, and now we don't want to repent, apparently. I don't know how else to explain it. The didache clarifies pouring or another method can be used only in an emergency, when there's necessity. And yet people always say, well, didache, there's not, I don't know what's wrong. Can you understand that this is ecclesia, that's economia, the canons are clear. Look at the whole picture of the canons, and then you'll understand that that can only be the case when there's a grave necessity. Otherwise, no. And there's no grave necessity when somebody's begging you to be baptized, Father. He's begging you to be baptized. There's no grave necessity. Baptize the man who wants to be baptized. This is where we're at, and it's a tragedy. Apostolic canons form the foundation of the teaching of the church on this topic. If you ignore the apostolic canons, of course you're going to be at sea. And then you can entertain all kinds of ideas about, Aquinan Latin theology and ecclesiology.